good Thursday afternoon. It is 3 o'clock Central Time. Thanks for joining us for our hourly updates on our Gulf disturbance Invest 93. I'm meteorologist Alexa Trishler with WWL Louisiana. So here we go. We do have some rain and storms happening across central Louisiana through Lafayette, Baton Rouge. That's where the worst of the weather is happening now, off to our west. But Invest 93 itself is moving through southeastern Louisiana now, this broad circulation, and we get this counterclockwise motion. Some storms getting fired up, some pretty strong storms off to the west towards Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Opelousas, places like that. Having some passing downpours in our immediate area too, so we could get some passing showers through the rest of today into tomorrow with lingering tropical moisture, courtesy of Invest 93, which has run out of time and space to intensify. So it will be remaining a weak system. It will further weaken, but we're still expecting the same impacts, passing storms through the next several days. So here we go, the worst of that weather off to the west. Baton Rouge, west towards Opelousas, down through Lafayette. A whole lot of significant lightning within that batch of storms around the circulation, this broad area of low pressure. So tons of lightning along I-49, along I-10 west of Baton Rouge, stronger winds and heavy rain. So that is definitely the worst of the weather associated with Invest 93, where they're dealing with some pretty impactful storms off to the west. So frequent flashes of lightning, stronger wind gusts, and probably some localized flooding going on off to the west, just out of our immediate area. In our immediate area in southeast Louisiana, impacts not nearly as bad. We've had some passing showers so far today, and we're still dealing with some passing rain and storms both sides of the lake. So a closer look at the North Shore, some heavier showers through St. Tammany Parish north of Slidell, and you can see the counterclockwise motion of the storms moving around Invest 93. Some heavier showers and storms for parts of the Baton Rouge area. Walker seeing some heavy downpours, west of I-55. Some lighter showers for parts of St. Tammany, northern St. Tammany, headed towards Folsom. This shower will move towards Folsom as they push off to the west. A little bit of light rain in Washington Parish as well, but not a whole lot of action. South Mississippi, much of the same. We've had a batch of rain move through northern Pearl River County, and that's going to continue to push westward along this area of low pressure as it pushes through southeast Louisiana this afternoon. A few soaking showers towards Lake Maurepas at this time, some heavier rain along I-55, and that's what we have through the rest of today, passing rain. And looking at the North Shore, I know earlier today, just about an hour and a half ago, we had some heavy rain in the metro area, and that created a street flood advisory, but there's no more rain happening across the metro area. So the rain has ended for Metro New Orleans now. The street flood advisory is still in effect, so there could be some puddles out there. It takes some time for the water to recede, but the advisory will expire soon, and there is no more rain happening at this point in the metro area. However, we'll still see some more scattered showers possible through the rest of today and into tomorrow. Looking on the South Shore more closely, some breaks in the rain, so that's good news. I know, last night and earlier this morning, our bayou parishes saw a whole lot of rain, but they're getting a break at this point. Some lighter showers for parts of Terrebonne, but heavy rain has ended for them at this moment. The worst of the impacts have shifted off into central and western Louisiana, more so central and south central Louisiana, more so with this kind of really significant area of storms that's associated with Invest 93. So that's where we're seeing the heaviest of the rain and the strongest of the storms off to the west. Lots of lightning and gusty winds for them off to the west, Opelousas down to Lafayette and into Baton Rouge. Some pretty significant heavy rain. But as for us, we're just tracking a few little showers in southeast Louisiana and South Mississippi, but we could get some good soaking downpours coming in at times. The Covington seeing some heavier showers. Mandeville seeing one little heavy shower set up too. So that's what's going on at this point, and getting closer to that one little shower we were tracking or continue to track along I-55. You want to make sure you slow it down for your evening commute. There could be some wet roads, some leftover showers, and that'll be really the trend through the course of the afternoon and early evening. Some slick roads in a few spots. Some of us really didn't see a whole lot of rain. Other areas, the ground is saturated. So if we get more passing downpours in the coming days, any saturated grounds is what we'll have to watch for localized flooding. But problems when it comes to flooding, not huge. I think flooding will be a pretty localized concern for us. But if you're off further to the west, that's where it's more of a significant issue with the storms pushing in now as Invest 93 moves westward through Louisiana. And as you look farther to the west along this line, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some more flash flooding induced as a result of this towards Lafayette and along I-49. So a bit of a rough go of it now with the weather pushing off to the west. But looking over the city of New Orleans, we have cloudy skies and a little bit of sunshine trying to break through now. The rain has ended in the metro area, but it has been cloudy and gloomy today. And with the tropical moisture around, it really has not been that hot. So that's been a relief. We've had temperatures in the 80s this afternoon. We are in the 80s across the region, upper 80s for the North Shore, because some of us on north of the lake really didn't see much rain at all today. So it did get a little bit hotter north of the lake. South Shore, we're in the 80s, some 70s in a few spots. And yeah, so that's really the highlight of today, the clouds and the cool factor with the 70s and 80s for our afternoon temperatures. I mean, we'll take it. It's been a while since we've had temperatures this cool across the area. So since Invest 93 has been pretty weak, you know, wind's not really a concern. Right now we have variable wind directions as we have the counterclockwise flow around the circulation of Invest 93, the low pressure pushing in, you have the variable wind directions, but wind speeds generally 5, 10, maybe 15 miles per hour. So it is a tad breezy as the low pressure moves to the west and moves through our area. So a little bit breezy weather today, and we'll keep slightly breezy conditions with us through the rest of today and into tomorrow. And tomorrow our winds will shift around the low pressure and come in from the south. So we'll have southerly breezes on tap tomorrow. So here's a look at our tropical tracker from the National Hurricane Center. This is the latest update. The Invest 93, it has run out of time and space to further strengthen. So in the next 2 days, it has 10% chance of tropical development. It'll just keep getting lower than that. So no more tropical development expected over the next 2 days. As it moves inland, we'll just see the same impacts we've been talking about, passing heavy rain and storms through today, tomorrow, and even into Saturday. We'll have some lingering moisture around early this weekend. So plan for some more storms as we head into Saturday, but no more tropical development expected with this going into the weekend. But like we've been talking about, it may try to make a full circle around an area of high pressure and come back around to the Gulf Coast later next week. So we'll have to watch that, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But we'll show you with the spaghetti model. So it will continue to push west and then eventually up to the north around an area of high pressure that will be building in from east to west, and that high pressure will settle in over us. But around high pressure, you get clockwise motion of winds, so that will help direct some tropical moisture associated with Invest 93, likely around the high pressure and then maybe right back around for us along the Gulf Coast by 1 week from now, roughly Wednesday, Thursday. So mid to late next week, we'll have to watch for round 2 of tropical moisture associated with Invest 93. So keep that in mind. We may not be completely fully done with this. So weather impact alert continues for today through tomorrow because we'll have rounds of showers. There could be some heavy spots of rain, not a problem for everybody. But like I mentioned, since some of us got a few inches of rain late last night and early this morning, it won't take much to induce some localized street flooding. So it's possible we may get 1 or 2 instances of street flooding. Not a huge problem for everybody, not a widespread issue, not just more of an isolated concern. In between now, Friday and Saturday, we may tack on an additional 2 to 4 inches of rain, widespread. You know, some of us may see less than that. Maybe our coastal spots and bayou parishes may see a bit more in the coming days. It just depends on where you're at. Just keep that in mind. We'll have the risk of passing tropical downpours the next few days. So make sure you check back in, watch the forecast either on WWL Plus, check us out on social media, live on TV. You can always download our WWL app to see where the showers are happening. Say you have outdoor plans or you work outside, things like that. Since the storms will be coming and going and not everywhere all the time, you'll see where they set up and where they'll go. And that can help you plan your day, going into kind of this soggier stretch of weather. But, we're getting a big break. We're getting breaks in the rain. It allows us to dry out. It's certainly not a washout, but you may get a few passing heavy downpours here and there. And then you have several hours of no rain. It's kind of hard to make plans like that. So if you check out our app, you can download our app and see how the showers are shaken up the next few days. So here's our precision cast through today. Like I've been talking about, really heavy rain and stronger storms in central Louisiana, south central Louisiana, Lafayette towards Alexandria, Opelousas, Baton Rouge. So off to the west, some pretty strong storms will continue this afternoon. Closer to us here at home, we may get a few soaking showers working in at times, plenty of dry weather in between. through the rest of today. And then tomorrow we get into the day tomorrow, so maybe some passing showers here and there, plenty of dry breaks in between tomorrow, but we'll have some scattered storms in the mix on our Friday. Some soaking downpours certainly possible as tropical moisture lingers over our area. It's easy to get those soakers that come in and drop a couple inches of rain in a few areas. Not everywhere, not all the time, but it's not out of the realm of possibility you get a heavier shower tomorrow. You may have to deal with some nuisance puddles, some ponding going into the next couple of days with the passing downpours likely through tomorrow, but lots of dry time in between for sure. Saturday, still not completely done with the tropical moisture, so I do want to mention to kick off the weekend, I think Saturday we'll still have some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the mix. Still hit or miss variety on Saturday, but plan for a few heavy downpours. An isolated stronger storm certainly possible in the coming days with some gusty winds, some lightning. I know we had a ton of lightning last night with the first wave of storms pushing in, so we may get some storms that can produce, some good flashes of lightning, things like that. So keep that in mind if you'll be out and about. Try to get inside when that happens where you're at if you can. So here we go, rainfall totals from now through tomorrow through Saturday. Like I mentioned, we could get anywhere from maybe 2 to 4 inches, but some of us may get, an inch, maybe half an inch, maybe less than that. Some spots may get a little bit over 2 to 4 inches. Maybe they pick up close to 5 inches. Worst case scenario, things like that. It just really depends on where you're driving to. Maybe you're at the mall and it starts raining, and then you go home and it's not raining. So it depends on where you live, where you work, and where your commute takes you. You may get some heavy downpours that add up 1 to 3 inches in a short time, or you may go home and you really haven't seen much rain. It's just kind of the nature of the beast with this system that's pushing through today. A lot of us have caught a break with this. So, I saw some comments online. Some people saw no rain at all. Others got a few inches early this morning and late last night. So here's our flooding rain outlook for today. Has not changed. Still looks like the heaviest of the rain will be expected off to the west, like we're seeing right now from Lafayette to Morgan City. And that's where we're at a 3 out of 4 risk for street flooding. So flooding certainly more of a concern off to the west. But still here at home, we're in the slight risk. So isolated flooding a possibility for us today. Not a huge problem, not a widespread issue by any means. And then tomorrow, pretty similar setup. Slight risk of excessive rainfall, meaning 1 or 2 areas possible, maybe 1 instance of street flooding, a possibility tomorrow. Things like that. The places that typically flood, we would get some heavy rain over there. We know it doesn't take much to cause flooding here. So that's something we'll be watching for tomorrow. Some localized street flooding being a concern for not everyone, but something to certainly pay attention to the next few days. And because of that, we're still under a flood watch until late tomorrow night. The widespread 2 to 4 inches certainly a possibility, but some of us may get a little bit less than that. So keep that in mind. Heavy rain, our biggest impact, like we've been talking about all this week. Really the thing to look out for was the periodic heavy rain, and that'll continue to be something we'll be watching through tomorrow and even into Saturday. I know we're done with the flood watch by late tomorrow night. I think even Saturday with some showers in the mix Saturday, there could be some heavier downpours and maybe some localized flooding concerns on Saturday, but it's hit or miss variety storms. It's hard to plan out exactly where that will set up this time of the year. So more of a standard summertime forecast coming in this weekend for sure. Since Invest 93 has been, pretty weak and it's going to stay weak, winds really not a concern. We may get a little bit breezy through the rest of today. A little breezy tomorrow. We'll have south winds tomorrow, maybe gusts up to 20 miles per hour at times through the course of Friday. And we'll keep the breezy conditions around at times through later tomorrow. And then we get into the weekend, winds should be pretty calm. The winds being kind of breezy here and there, helping to keep things cool too. So with the cloudiness, the showers, the breeze around today, it felt not like the middle of summertime, so we got a break with that for sure. So like I mentioned, we could have maybe round 2 of associated tropical moisture with Invest 93 later in the week, later next week as high pressure builds in from the east. So high pressure will shift in later this weekend. That will help dry us up finally. So I think by Sunday will be mostly dry, maybe 1 or 2 storms Sunday. If you have weekend plans and they're outside, if you can shift them to Sunday, that'd probably be a better bet because Sunday looks a little bit drier and not much rain, but temperatures will be heating up. So here's the high pressure building in from the east that helps to push the moisture with Invest 93 up to the north. And this is on Saturday. Still some leftover moisture for us Saturday. It gets on out of here by Sunday, and then early next week we should be mostly dry and hotter on Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures will be in the mid-90s Monday and Tuesday with not a whole lot of rain. But then you see this clockwise motion around the high pressure, and then here's the moisture riding around once again and coming back for us round 2. This is Wednesday, so mid to late next week, more tropical moisture coming our direction. We'll have to see what it does. You know, can it spend time over the Gulf later next week? Can it develop? Can it organize? Will it be pretty similar to what we're seeing now? Will it just be heavy rain? All things we'll be watching and making sure you know about. So make sure you stay tuned to that, since we're not completely done with this as it looks right now. So we are later next week watching tropical moisture again for round 2. Of course, so not done with it just yet. So here's our 7-day forecast for southeast Louisiana and South Mississippi. Plan for the clouds today and tomorrow. Temperatures in the 80s in the afternoons. Not going to complain about that. Of course, we'll have some passing heavy downpours possible through today and tomorrow. Maybe some isolated street flooding we'll have to watch for in the coming days. It'll be occasionally breezy, but nothing off the charts. Saturday, a few storms around, a little hotter this weekend. Sunday, pretty dry, maybe 1 or 2 storms, but Sunday mostly dry and hotter. Temperatures in the low 90s on Sunday. And then early next week, we're talking mid 90s again, a little more sunshine around, not much rain to worry about Monday and Tuesday. We shift our focus back to the heat, but as we get into Wednesday and then later next week, we'll be watching for round 2 of the tropical moisture. So make sure you check back in and stay tuned to that. So we will have updates every hour on Invest 93. We'll tell you what you can expect, the latest on this Gulf disturbance. So we will be back here at 4 o'clock. Make sure you join us on WWL+.